Hello, 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 everyone out there on social media land. As you all know, this is your girl, Deborah Vines-Epps with Talk Your Talk. And tonight we are going to have the one and only Clue Atkinson. Okay, so Clue, what do you want me to call you today? Because you have many titles out here in the community.
Call me Clue. I about to
Call
say
you
call
Clue.
me Caitlin.
All right. All right, I'm gonna call you Clue. All right, so y'all on my I'm also streaming on YouTube. You all know that who's following me. I'm on the my Facebook page, Deborah Vines Epps, my Talk Your Talk, and YouTube. You all know how to find me. I have started this trivia thing, so I want you all to engage in my trivia every day on my pages as well. All right. Okay, so Clue, this is a topic that a lot of people are very uncomfortable with, whether it's talking about it for religious reasons, for cultural reasons, or for people that's in certain positions that really don't want to touch those gray areas, right?
Right,
Um, but for me, I look at it as if I accept whoever, for where they are, who they are. That's me, right?
right,
Um, some people are in certain positions where they really kind of like that military thing where don't ask, don't tell,
right,
right? So I know, but I don't know, because if I do now, it puts me in a situation. There is so much surrounding gay acceptance now versus then. And I say then when I refer to the past. So let's start out with introducing yourself, the roles you have, and how um you've been accepted as being gay, how that impacted you in your roles.
gotcha. So, hey, y'all, my name is Clue. I am the vice chair of the Portsmouth School Board. I also serve on several community boards, the Man Foundation, which stands for Men Alleviating Negativity. I serve on the Stop the Violence 757 board,
Right.
also educational boards, Access College, and WHRO.
Wow.
So right now, on top of having my own nonprofit, which is Believe, Pray, Overcome, and how I describe my nonprofit is that like I'm a black version of a Red Cross because I address
Right.
different societal issues, education, poverty, homelessness, health, whether that's mental health, physical health, the diseases that's impacting the African American community.
Yeah.
So that's why I call myself the Black Red Cross, in which I see myself getting there eventually. But as far as like my lifestyle uh, and serving on boards and being a community leader slash community activist, it's not easy. You know,
Yeah.
it's days where you question yourself um, almost every day, and you wondering if certain opportunities are not given to you because of the lifestyle you live. You
Yep.
want if you're rejected of opportunities because of your physical presence. And myself, I have a masculine appearance, but
Right.
I identify as a woman,
Right.
because I don't fit that feminine look as
Right.
a woman. I'm like, maybe I didn't get this because, like you said, people are not comfortable about having conversations. And I can tell you too, Deborah, even people that live this lifestyle sometimes are not comfortable with having conversations. So
You are
it's
so
it's
right.
actually everybody. But I say all this to say a lot of my lifestyle influenced why I ran for office and why
Mm.
certain boards, and that's to you know be the voice for the people that live my lifestyle, and also give others who don't live this lifestyle understanding, because acceptance is a big term. You don't necessarily have to accept somebody's lifestyle, but I think like understanding can go a long way.
It can. And you know what? You said something, Clue, that really stood out to me. You said, Deborah, it's not others, it's you accepting who you are while
Right,
trying to fit in with others as well. And I think that's the biggest struggle for people,
right,
trying to fit in and be accepted by others. I know, they used to say a term, coming out of the closet. I heard that a lot growing up, Clue. I mean, at one point in time, I literally didn't understand what it meant when I was, young, until I was actually in a situation where one of my friends was gay, and a comment to her was, "When are you coming out?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" And they told her, "Hey, we know you're gay. We're just waiting for you to tell everybody else." But I didn't know either. Right?
Wow.
But in that situation, when I realized that she struggled not only with coming out with other people, but her parents.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that was the biggest thing. And so I don't know how it feels to be in a skin where you're uncomfortable with identifying who you are and what you feel.
Right. It's and like you said, that parent piece is big. You know, you have a lot of kids, even being on a school board that's in a school system in which their parents don't accept their lifestyle, and that makes it hard for them because LGBTQ kids or youth are more likely to commit suicide than other youth
Yeah.
because they're not accepted by their parents. So you got to think, since the topic is now versus then, back in the day, if you weren't accepted by your parents, then you won't gonna tell nobody else, not even your friends, because as soon as one person knew, then that's how your parents found out. And that could have led to, a lot of touchy situations, people being disowned by their parents,
Yeah.
led to the formation of the house culture because their
Yeah.
parents, families abandoned them. So I mean, that's still going on today. And a lot of our youth are struggling because their parents don't accept their lifestyle. Or like I said, maybe that word understanding comes to place, but it's still it's
Like,
still
it's right. And I know that, shout out to the Pride Festival that's
right.
happening in Portsmouth. I think last year was the second year they had
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
I know that in other cities like Virginia Beach and Hampton, Newport News, they have been having it for some time, right? And the first one in Portsmouth was very successful. The second one was extremely successful. So it's continuing to happen. I do know, from one of the leaders that initiated this, it was a lady, a young lady there. She brought her mother. Like this is like a true testimony for her, a breakthrough. She brought her mother there. Her mother did not know what she was coming to.
Oh.
When her mom got there and she was around, people, her mom asked her, "What's this? Like, this is nice, right?" And
Hmm.
she said, "Mom, this is me."
Oh
And her
wow.
mom pretty much asked her, "What do you mean this is you?" She said, "Mom, I'm gay." So it took her to feel safe in that environment, Clue, where her mother could see, "Look, Mom, I'm normal. I'm normal. I'm like others. You're saying all these people are nice. Mom, this is me." And so her mom accepted it much more because it was in an environment where there was others that was like her.
Right. And that's part of I think a lot of parents, their issue is, if my child is like this, how am I going to protect them? So
Yeah.
they feel like, the world is, already a crazy place, but living this lifestyle they see online, you get bullied, you get harassed. Like we was having a conversation earlier, globally, people are getting murdered for living a certain lifestyle. So,
Yes.
from a parental standpoint, some parents just probably outside of the religious beliefs just want their kids to be protected. So I think for that parent, seeing that safe space and seeing that there is other people who are happily living this lifestyle, maybe I don't have to worry so much about,
Yep.
child living this lifestyle, because safe spaces are important. And I
Yes.
just commend everybody that creates that safe space, whether it's a pride, whether it's a building,
Yes.
house, or whether you have like a community like organization that's providing those safe spaces. It's
Right.
important.
And it's something that, Clue, I just want to commend you because, Clue, you have a lot of roles. Like, you're part of, you know great organizations, whether it's the community, the school, every organization that you're a part of is a part of the community. You
Right.
are tapped into so many different facets and so many different people that you are a role model for others.
Thank
Even if
you.
you're welcome, even if they can't tell you, or even if they don't have the capability to, or they're not around you, you best believe it's people that watch people like you that says that I have a chance, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
people that watch people like you and said that if she did it, I know I can do it, right? Because
Right.
it's a daily struggle. It is. So I commend you for even saying, you know what, Deborah, I would like to talk about this. I would like to. It's called, for me, it's called breaking barriers.
Right.
Because I can guarantee you, Clue, that you have went up for different positions and you was qualified or overly qualified for it. And then you probably looked at it, because I ran across the same things in the military as a African American female
Right.
that's around a lot of men in the military as an officer, where I had to go extra hard to get the position when sometimes I still didn't get it. But the person that got it, I'm looking like, how in the world did
You
they
already.
do this? Right?
You
Right?
already know.
The odds against me.
Yep.
So being not only a female, an African American female, and being gay, right? Have you been in positions where you question yourself and say, did I not get that because of what I chose to identify
Because of
myself
my
as?
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's crazy that, it's still happening. Um, I know for me and other people. So like you said, you did the whole military
Yep.
comparison of being a black female in a male dominated industry,
Yep.
military qualified. And then, like you said, you add your lifestyle in. I call myself a triple minority. That, the odds is already against you. So, with me, it's just creating relationships and building relationships. So my way of tackling that is just getting to know people, building relationships, and people actually saying that, I'm just like you, we
Right.
just
Right.
we just deal with different people, when we go home, but we want the same things, we want to change the world. We want to, help
Right.
owners and things like that. We want better for people. We just have a different choice of lifestyle, but
Yep.
I'm no different from you. So I think it's crazy that sometimes to get opportunity, you have to make people feel comfortable.
Mm.
And that's sometimes hard, that you have to make people comfortable with who you are. And you already know, as a black person, people already think your skin color is a weapon, but
Woo.
a lifestyle is a weapon, that's
Yeah.
used against me on a daily. So
Yeah. And is it's the acceptance piece, is going over and beyond. And then is when you're accepted by certain people,
right.
you still have to go in front of other people that they're looking at you,
Right.
right? They're looking at you. You don't know who you can trust, right? You don't know who has your back or who's supporting you. Like
Right.
that's the thing that you always keep here. And sadly, that sometimes that can jog your memory. That can jog your ability to be the best that you can be, because you just never know who has an agenda because of who you are.
Right. Right.
So I'm going to ask you this, Kluman, this is for the people that will watch this. Um at what point did you identify? How old were you? How did you know? Like what was the feeling? Like this is the thing that how did you know?
Um
If you're
what
uncomfortable with that, then I understand.
I'm just dating back,
Okay.
because I'm trying to figure out, when did I know, you got to say things twice, because I did, date the opposite sex. I was in a
Mhm.
relationship with men when when I was in high school, I dated men, and my lifestyle is not a reflection of any bad situation or any
Right.
bad relationship. Some people can say, "Oh, I was abused," or men did me dirty.
Yeah.
That want to put out that wasn't my case, and people can read my story when I wrote a piece about that and got a story to tell. But with me, it just was more so that preference. I always was attracted, to women, but I realized, like, once I got older, that hey, I'm more sexually attracted to women than I am
Yeah.
to, and that my preference is to be in a relationship with a woman. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It wasn't from a bad situation. The men that I dealt with, great. They're great guys, and we had great relationships, and they actually set the foundation of who I am when I'm in a relationship,
Yeah.
my dominant role. I strive to be, or treat the person that I'm with like I was treated
Yeah.
in those relationships. So it was in high school, that I realized that I was, sexually attracted to women.
And I'm smiling because I don't know, um Erickson's, the developmental stages. It says, I think it's like ages 12 through 17 is identity versus role confusion. So
Right,
that's the teenage years, right?
right,
That's when you sort of know, like, all right, this is what it's kind of
yeah,
like experimenting, right?
right,
But when
yep.
right?
Come
I
on.
You know when you do. Like, and that's why I tell people who we don't know what what they feel. We don't know. Like, you cannot, who are we to judge? Who am I to treat anybody a certain type way? Like, I just don't get it when the anti-gay people like just do mean things. You all are human. You have
Right, right,
to identify who you are. And at the end of the day, what makes it any different, and it doesn't, there's no correlation, but what makes it better from someone that's a murderer? What makes it better from someone that's doing something else, right? We're all human. We all identify with who we are and whatever it is. And I'm glad you made the point that, hey, I wasn't hurt by a man, because a
right.
lot of women, they do. A lot of them will say, look, I'm just not dealing with any more men. I would deal with a woman. But see, for me, is that truly that a person identifies themselves as being gay, or that's the situation and it
I
works for
think
them?
I think that's more situational, because for you to, jump the fence because, you've been mistreated by a man, or, a certain situation, I I feel like that was in you all this time. You just needed a reason, and females got to understand, it's not just the term gay. It's okay to be bisexual. I mean, some people
Yeah,
that like both sex, and that's fine. i
yeah,
i know people that, or I know a person that they've been in a relationship with a female, then they've been with a male, they'll go back, they're bisexual, and that's okay. And like I said, people need to understand that, and a person that's making that decision and trying to put that excuse of abuse on it just needs to come to realization and learn
yeah,
that they may be just
yeah.
bisexual.
Clue, let's stay on that topic. I want to talk about this for a little bit. You know, this kind of goes with the double standard thing that I'm going to talk about next week on the next podcast. But let's talk about this. So, a woman who is bisexual, right? Or her man wants to, right? You see where I'm going with this, right?
I know what you're about to go with.
Right? Her man wants to, have different relationships. And hey, I mean, that's okay, right? But when that happens, how is it that that's okay? But then a woman that just wants to deal with a woman, it becomes a problem. It's a stigma now. But if you're bisexual, you're having fun both ways, right? You're a
Right.
man and a woman. But then it's also looked at different when it's a man and two women. But if it's two men and a woman, right? So that's where I'm looking at it like, okay, so it's your preference. It's
Right. And
what you
it's
want to
like you said,
do.
it's still a double standard. You take, for example,
Right.
like you said, a man and he's, got two females. And then when you look at a woman, she's happily with two men. They like, oh, she's all types of names. So
Right.
it's a lot of double standard there. And then when you look at also me and my friends was having this conversations about how a man is judged for being bisexual. A man that
Yep.
likes,
Yep.
women and men, that's like
Yep.
frowned upon. But a
Yes.
female, but no, 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 you cannot be a man and be bisexual.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
So again, and then I'm going to put. Let me tell you one thing people don't like to talk about is religion, right?
right,
You don't want to put religion in stuff. They want to put religion in the schools, but let's talk about it for a little bit, right?
right,
So I'm a spiritual person,
right.
right? I was born, not born, but I was raised Baptist. But that's usually what a lot of African American homes growing up. You go to Baptist, you go to church, you praise. But I'm very open to non-denominational churches. Okay,
Okay,
I do not know the Bible in and out. I know bits and pieces of it. I do know some things. I know what Proverbs give you a lot of motivational things. But I hear people say it's nothing in the Bible about two men, two women, right? It's nothing
right.
in the Bible about that. And because of that, you have pastors, you have religious leaders who, because they have been called to be on a certain platform, but then they identify themselves as something, as being gay or bisexual. They struggle much more
Yep.
of trying to be who they are for the people, but then they're not true to themselves until things leak out. And we've seen that happen with some of the bishops and
A
some of the
lot.
pastors. Yeah.
Right.
In that case, Clue, is there anything, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm not trying to offend anyone at all, but have you ever heard people say, I've heard people make mean comments and say it's not Adam and it's Adam and Eve, they didn't make Adam and Steve. Like, have you heard people say
Absolutely.
crazy stuff like that?
Right, right. I heard that. You heard that all the time. Especially, um, I don't know if you probably had a chance to go to, Portsmouth Pride. Most of the time,
Yeah,
be like the protests outside of Pride, and that's where you will hear it a lot. About the whole "it's not Adam and Steve" comments, and it's also coming up like I mentioned earlier, in our lawmakers are also saying this type of stuff on the floor, when they putting together legislation. I can tell you, last year, in the House
yep,
and in the Senate, there was like 12 anti-trans bills. And that was the most anti-LGBTQ bills ever. So, it's putting politics in it, and like you said, religion, but it isn't nowhere in the Bible where it says that. And I often ask, when the protesters are out there, when the religious leaders are saying it, I want to have those conversations, because I want to know, where are you getting that perspective from? Where are you getting that God isn't love? Because I truly believe that God is love, and God loves all people, you
yeah,
know. And in the Bible it talks about forgiveness. So I always like to have conversations like that about religion, because you can't put me in no heaven, you can't put me in no hell. I know how I'm gonna get to heaven, from being saved and from believing that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. So
right,
I probably would make it to heaven before before that person. And I say
right,
that all the time, because I truly believe, and I have to tell this to the kids, I'm going to heaven. I'm not going to hell.
right. And the thing is that this, I was reading about same-sex marriage. Is that approved in Virginia?
Yes, it did. It did pass in Virginia.
It did. Okay. In some other states, I know some of the states still struggling with it. Of
Right.
course, overseas, the Middle East, those different areas,
Right.
because they're religious and reasons, you can't even, like you said, someone, you can get killed if you choose to date somewhere else. So a lot of times they'll come over here to our country
Right.
because it's a little bit more accepted over here, right?
Right.
Versus in their country. I'm going to shift a little bit because I am seeing, especially like in adoption, my guy Shanti, right? Him and
Right.
his husband, right? They have what, twins or two boys? Are they
I
twins?
think so. I think so.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of same-sex marriages or same-sex parents that are raising kids.
Right.
That's where a lot of the controversies coming in that say, hey, look, allow the children to make the decision themselves, because what we show them or what we teach them, we make them feel that is okay. What would be your response to that, to someone that says, look, having the kids in the house and making them feel like it's okay to date another woman or date, two men? How are you giving them the opportunity to identify when they are seeing it and thinking that is okay? How would you respond to that?
Well, I mean, if people would do research, they would see that a lot of people who identify as LGBTQ do not come from the homes where they're LGBTQ parents. Um, Most of the kids with LGBTQ parents live heterosexual lives, and it's a research study on that most of the people that are gay or living a lifestyle come from straight homes. So I don't think, of course, the parents might have some type of influence. I see my mom, you
Yeah.
know living her lifestyle with another woman. I might just be a little curious, but I don't think personally that it has a big influence on a child's sexual preference, because like we was talking about the whole psychology thing, a child is going to feel how they want to feel, and I don't think a parent's lifestyle is going to influence that. I mean, think about it. You have kids that grow up in straight homes, but do they live their lifestyle straight? No, they're living their lifestyle based on who they love and what their preference and what their feeling is for that gender.
Yeah, I do know. I was reading a study. I always try to educate myself on things before I do a podcast with some of my topics. One of the studies was someone that was anti and one that was for. The anti person said, hey, looking in schools now, you got little girls, even down to school age kids, little girls who want to touch other little girls in
Mm.
school. I'm talking about school age kids, right? Because of what they see. As parents do what you want to do, but if you're going to have that in front of your kids, still educate them on the other options, male and the female.
Right.
Sit down and communicate with them and explain to them that, hey, this is what mom, and you can't say what he said. You can't say mom and mom is mom. I mean, mom and dad is mom and mom, right? And a
Right.
lot of times it's the biological mother, and then the other mom has their kids there too. So then he also says that technically they're not siblings. So then they may start to have some type of um what is it called? Where you what is it called? Not harassment, but sexual abuse amongst each other because they're not siblings.
Technically, they're not related. Got you.
Yep. So that's what he was saying in his study. And then on the other end, this is from another perspective. She said in the study, the love is all that I care about. She feel like when she went around and researched and talked to a lot of couples, she realized that most of the homes that had a lot of the the gay couples or same-sex marriages, the love was much more greater. right?
Right.
Because they were past the point where they have already identified who they were comfortable with their partner. And so when you're at peace with who you are and what you have, then that love flows in, throughout the kids.
Right. For
And
the
so
kid.
she didn't look at it in that perspective. So it goes back to, there's the world perspective,
Yeah.
there's the peer perspective, and there's the individual perspective.
Right.
Gay acceptance is hard, and clue, it's not going, I don't see it really going anywhere. It's how the community form. And when I tell you, the community is so large, great, very close, supportive, like take care of each other, and that's what's needed for that safety net.
It is. And I know one thing, like you said, our community is strong, but
Yes.
it's other issues that we deal with within our community. I mean, even we still face discrimination in our own community.
Wow.
Have you have black elite, you have white elite. It's still broken down into a class system. So
You're
like,
right.
a strong community together, but I just want to say that we're still divided. It's a lot that we can work on with and come together, but it's we got work to do in our community. So I'm not even gonna stand here and say like we're perfect. But I can say when it comes to putting up a fight, we'll come together. But we're
Yeah, yeah. And I think we were talking about something earlier, Clue, about the wealthy. The wealthy are much more accepted, right?
Yep.
They're much more accepted. Why is that?
I think because they have the resources, to
Yeah,
sometimes they say when you got money, you can pay your problems away. You can buy out your problems. And with the wealthy people, I think is their main focus is on staying wealthy. And if my kids want to live this lifestyle, they can.
that's
That's
it.
just not something that they have to worry about or be judged about. And you think about it, if you have your own finances, I'm not going to lose my job, I'm not going to get kicked out of this
Yeah,
because my child lived this life versus somebody that's, probably like not as wealthy. They got to think
yeah,
about being judged by the church, being judged by their,
yeah,
and they possibly losing their job because of how their kid lived their lifestyle. It's people are real judgy now. You just never know. So that's probably why like that class issue as far as like being wealthy is more accepting too. I
yeah.
have even had a chance. I might look up to see if they did research on that.
And the now we're talking about and let me know if I'm wrong, the transgender community. Are they is it a separate community, or the transgender also identify with the same sex marriage as well? I mean, not same sex marriage, but the same sex community.
So I mean, transgenders are a part of the community. The T and the LGBTQ represents them. I think with the transgenders, their issues is taken over because it's so much conversation around um, transgenders in sports, the bathroom issue.
Yep. Yep.
With the trans, they are a part of the community. It's just that a lot of people just don't want them around. They don't want them here. They don't want them to have
Yep.
equal rights. And again, it goes back to understanding. Some people have their own opinions on the whole bathroom situation. I mean, I don't identify as a trans, but as a female, going into a women's bathroom is traumatic. you know so I can only imagine what a trans go through, but I haven't heard of any situations. And you hear crazy stories on, I don't want a man in the same bathroom as me,
Yep.
I'm gonna get raped or something like that.
Yep.
It's just so weird. Have we ever all this time had a bathroom incident with a trans? I mean, when have we ever had an issue with a transgender using the bathroom? Like,
Right. And I think in a lot of the public places, a lot of places are conforming to
Yes.
yeah, they are. They have pretty much already, because they have to be safe with it. They
Right.
have to,
Right.
because there comes a lot of legal issues, and if you
Right.
don't conform to other people perspectives and things that they um choose to relate themselves as. However, I'm gonna kind of play devil's advocate a little bit. If it's someone that has been traumatized by, let's just use like a female, and when I was in the military, before they even approved a lot of stuff,
Right.
um when they were talking about, when it came out with don't ask, don't tell, a lot of people would say, well, how would you, a lot of women, they said, how you respecting how I feel? What if I was abused by a man, right? What if I feel a certain type way about a man being in the same place with me, right?
Right.
In my safe space, because in the military, it's open showers a lot of times.
Yep.
Like we were in there openly, but we're
Sure.
okay with other women. Some women will wait, and they had that right. But if you allow, a lot of them will say, if you allowed a transgender to come in here, how is that okay when I know this person is a man? That's where all the controversy come in at. That's where a lot of places, the lawmakers are stuck.
Right. I mean, but you got to understand, as a transgender, you already, more than likely you're transitioning into, let's say you're a man transitioning into a woman. More
Right.
than, you probably had your surgery to,
Yep.
get breast. You probably had, your bottom done too. So I would say majority of the time, if there was a situation, most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference when it's
That's
a
right.
transition from a man to a woman. So, and like I said, I see where a transgender would do harm, but I get what you're saying from a trauma perspective. But
Yeah.
after they get their gender surgery,
Right.
their new person, they identify as a woman, so they are now she. So on the surface, you're not going to see a he. So I wouldn't think that trauma experience would come into play, because you're seeing a feminine person versus seeing a masculine person.
Yeah, and that's giving that transgender the right for things not to be revealed, because I
Right.
don't know, I guess that's in laws too, policies as well. Is that revealed to everyone?
Right.
Does that fall up under HIPAA? Like, does that, confidentiality, where does that fall under? It's so many different things that comes into play.
It is, and like you said, you brought up HIPAA. I was recently at a panel. It was a trans panel, and they were talking about that some transgenders face uh, discrimination when they're going to doctors and they're getting their medical checkups, because they have to say that
Yep.
was, let's say a trans man would have to say, I used to be a female. So
Yep.
when we're going to the gynecologist, and then they're not treated the same once they reveal that. So that's a ongoing issue, and it's a lot of things that we don't think too much into that they're dealing with. But like you said, the lawmakers are saying, the hell with that. That was your choice. We don't care if you have, a healthy provider, or a provider can choose to discriminate and not give you services because of your, the lifestyle you lead, because you chose to transition.
Yep.
We don't have to guarantee that you're going to get the proper medical care. It's
Yep.
weird.
Yep. And then, even do they have like employment discriminatory laws for LGBTQ? Do they have any of that? Like, is it something that's still going on? Right? Because you say it was a lot of anti bills that were passed last year. What type of bills, for people out there who are listening, do you, not to just name all of them, but do you know some of the things that were passed that affected a lot of people in that community?
Yeah, so one of the bills that was passed, and it was surrounding the topic of trans youth, because that was the main
Mm,
pass. And my heartbreak with that one is that it allowed teachers are able to out their students. So if a teacher find out, even in passing, even in conversation, they can out the student, call their parents and say, hey, I heard that your child is living this lifestyle. Generally before it was a secret. You had kids that was coming to school, they were changing their clothes. The teachers have a right to, call their parents and tell them, hey, your child, did this. So they're opening up the door for a lot of like mental health issues, and possibly could lead to like a child getting kicked out of the house, could lead to suicide, because
yeah.
they're able to out them. Another part of the bill is that the schools don't have to provide safe spaces for trans to use the bathrooms. The teachers don't have to address them by their pronouns. So if a child says that they're they, them, he, she, I'm sorry, he, him, she, her, then the teacher does not have to address them by their pronoun or by their name. Even if the parent has said that I'm in agreement that my
Mm,
child, Rachel is now going by Raphael, the teacher can still call their child Rachel.
Rachel.
You're right. So
Wow,
that's bills that did
wow,
pass.
that's stripping a lot of rights, self
Right.
rights, right?
Right.
I mean, I say rights because again, that's individual rights, but a
Yep.
lot of times our individual rights are not parallel with policy.
Right.
Um, I'm going to look at the now versus then. When now I can't tell you this, a lot of the youth, they are identifying who they are and they don't care what you say. Let me
Ah.
tell you. Hey, look, back then,
Yep.
you really no, you really didn't see. It was truly don't ask, don't tell. In the
Right.
closet, I'm scared. I don't
Yep.
know what's gonna happen to me. But now, Clue, the youth are like, whatever.
Yeah, they outside. I talk to
Yes.
out of them, and I'm like, and not just high school kids, middle school kids, and I'm
I
like,
Clue,
I,
yes.
yep.
Clue. And Clue, let me ask. Okay, so I see more of okay, let me know what's the term. So the woman, the female that identifies as the man, is there a certain term
They
for
call, for example, you will see online that they call like somebody like me a stud.
so you're stuck. Okay. And then the woman that identifies more of like more feminine is just that's the lady.
Just a femme.
Oh, a femme.
That and you're not talking about trans, right? You're talking about
No,
just like me.
no,
Somebody like me, they would probably say a stud, and then a feminine woman that's gay, she's just a femme.
a femme. Okay. All right. So I see more studs than anything. And but Clue, that's probably because with my eye, right? Like
Right.
like like my lens, how could I identify a femme? A femme could really be someone that's gay. And I
Right.
don't know. But to the eye, you easily can recognize a stud,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Even with guys, I've seen some fine guys, and I'm like, how in the world are you gay? No, I'm like, what? So with the men, what do you, and I don't know if you know this answer, but what do you associate? Who do you call the guy that's more feminine and the guy that's more of the man? So for the female, it's a stud and a femme. What about the guys? You laughing for what?
I'm laughing because like it's like an inside thing. Like it's
Okay.
like either you're top or either you're bottom as a guy. But
Yeah.
they just gay, but who
Okay.
top and who the bottom. So you can
You
say
just okay. Got it. Okay. I got it. I
but
got it.
that's for clarity. The top is gonna be the more, the masculine dominant
Okay.
one. Not saying that He's not a bottom, but the bottom is going to be the more flamboyant, outgoing one. And
Yeah.
that's just in general, not saying that's always
Right.
accurate, but
Wow.
that's just a general term.
Um, I don't see too many clubs that really support. I mean, when you go more like in Atlanta, a little bit more up north, maybe, but here in Virginia, where do you have more LGBTQ night spots? Not even just night, like social lounges. Where do you see a lot of them at here?
It's not many, and just shout out to Nina. She's resting in heaven right now. She was one of
Mm,
the promoters that kept our community together as far as like the black community. And
wow.
so, since she passed, it hasn't, been a lot of spaces where, we can go and enjoy ourselves and be
Mhm.
comfortable, because there are venues, but they cater to, the white people. We'll
Yeah.
go support their businesses, and then, they don't play our music, and people still support it. But then when you have like a black promoter that does get a night, they don't want to support it. It's like sometimes the black LGBTQ community don't want to see the next person grow or excel. Like it's weird, but they will flood all the white venues and the white clubs. And I'm all about supporting whoever's trying to do something positive in the community, because stepping out and planning parties and doing promotions and trying to be that glue that joins the community is not easy. You do it. You do, even with straight events. It's the same.
Right.
It's hard being that glue, but I commend anybody that step out and do promotions and want to bring a community together. But to answer your question, it's not that many spaces. And speaking of that, I have been, offered the opportunity to create, another type of pride for us in Virginia. Someone gave me an opportunity
Good.
to try to, put something together to cater towards our community.
Chloe, you should, because I think you said her name is Nina.
Right.
May her soul rest in peace. This is the one that with the tunnel incident, correct?
That was actually Lex. Lex was another
Okay.
promoter that was, bringing everybody together. So Nina was a promoter that a lot of us came up under. Even Lex.
Wow.
A lot
Wow.
of us started under Nina. If you ask any black person that's gay about Nina, they know her. More than likely, they came up under her. So yeah, but yeah, Lex was another, pioneer in the community that was trying to bring everybody together, and her life was taken away tragically. So
Yes, yes. I do remember that. That was the one thing that everybody says so much about her.
right, positive, and that
Yes.
Lex, and it's crazy because when you out now, you try not to be in your phone, you try not to take pictures, you try not to get videos. But like one of the last videos that I got of Lex was Lex dancing, with Tiffany. And Lex was like the last person to leave out the club that night. So I'm like, so Lex is on the mic, everybody cleaning up, and it's like me, Tiff, Lex, and AJ, and Lex is not leaving the venue. So we just all having a good time and recording, and
Mm.
Lex is on the mic. So I said, Lex, anything I do this year, I want you to host it. And Lex was like, okay, okay, I'm all for it, and I'm like, Lex, I'm serious.
Mm.
And I know sometimes people think because I got a lot of things on my plate that I don't be serious. So I even had a Facebook message where I went to Facebook that next day. I said, Lex, I know you think I play too much, but I'm serious.
Wow.
Need you for some events that I got going on. And Lex was like, okay. And that was our last message.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
think it was 2 weeks later, that's when the accident happened.
How did that impact? I mean, you have to think that even though you are secure with who you are, right? You
Right.
have identified who you are. You have built a relationship with a group of people. but you still have some insecurities and some doubts because of the things that you deal with daily, right?
Right.
But when you lose someone of that magnitude, who, it's kind of like mama bear, somebody that's there that will
Right.
be the glue. No matter what's going on, I can go to that person. With her being that person, did that dampen the LGBT community a little bit? So, what, we got to step back a little bit and see who where are all the other pioneers at, right? Like where are you all at now that you have lost two? I mean, I don't know how long it's been since Nina, but now Nina, first Nina, then Lex. Who
Right.
else do you all have that can take the torch?
Right. I think I think you're right. That's where we're at right now.
Okay.
Who else? Who's next? Who's gonna take that torch? Who's gonna bring everyone together?
Mm.
And when I say everyone, you're thinking about gay, straight, trans,
Yeah.
older, younger, everyone. So that person has to be able to, work with everyone and bring them together. And Lex was all over the place. Lex was literally like everywhere supporting everybody. So not only do you have to be a person that brings people together, you have to be a person that's not just selfish and about yourself. You have to support other people, because in order for you to be successful, and this
Exactly.
is just anything in life, you have to be willing to show other people support as well. So I think that's where we're at. Who's next? Who's gonna take that torch and lead us in the right direction?
Okay. What would you say as we wrap up? What would you say to the ones out here that haven't built that security, haven't built that tenacity to say this is who I am? Afraid to go to their parents, afraid to say anything to anyone because of the possible retaliation. What would you say to that young one, or not even just young? Because I know some older people that are still. What would you say to them, Clue?
It's a lot, you know, I can start by saying, how can be comfortable with the life that you're living while you're hiding? How
Mm,
can you truly be yourself and hiding? How can you truly love someone, love your partner, have expectations of your partner when your expectations of self is not complete? So in order to be in self, you have to be true with yourself. And a part of your truth is the people that you love, the people who you respect, knowing who you
yeah,
are.
yeah,
So I strongly believe that, once it's revealed to the people that you love, it's like a release, it's a burden off your back. So if you don't want to carry that burden, be true to yourself and be true
mm,
to that you love. Life is happening and life is also being cut short. So, you
yeah,
know, you don't want to let somebody leave this earth without them knowing or them questioning,
yeah,
because people that have lost their parents and their parents don't know who they are and they deal with that every day.
yeah,
And tell the person that's watching them, once you free yourself and living your truth, it's a different lifestyle. It's a
mm,
different lifestyle. I'm not going to tell you that every day isn't going to be a struggle, that you're not going to be judged, that you're not going to be rejected, that you're not going to have to fight, because you are. But just that comfortability of knowing that, hey, this is who I am, helps you mentally be healthy.
yeah. That's deep, Clue. That
Yeah.
is, because that speaks to the soul, that speaks to the individual. Um, I always keep a toolkit with me, not literally, but I keep a toolkit that every challenge, every underlying issue, every accomplishment, I grab it and I put it in my toolkit, right? And
Mm.
whenever I need to use that tool, I grab it. I
Wow.
grab it and I use that to help straighten up things a little bit, right? So I can get through whether it's that moment, that situation, or through that day, because
Wow.
life goes on.
Right.
So, from listening to you and seeing a lot of the experiences from others, I want to tell anyone that if you just feel that toolkit, just like that mechanic that knows how to come and fix that car, right, and get it back right, whether it lasts for a short period of time or it lasts for a long time, you came in and you fixed it for yourself.
Right.
It's about you. You
Yep.
you you can't. I'm not going to say you can't worry about what others think about you, because some people have not mastered that skill.
Right. Not caring. Right.
Right. Some people haven't mastered, and that has nothing to do with who you identify yourself with. That has a lot to do with what you went through, your upbringing. So you're dealing with all of these things, and then now you have to identify yourself and have people love and support who you are.
Right. And it's funny you say that, because that final point of, like, just being a person or a human in general,
Right.
surrounding yourself with good people, good energy people. And I can tell, Deborah, that you're one of those persons that'll pray for a friend and they won't even know about it. You'll send it,
Woo.
hey girl, I prayed for you today. I don't know what you're going through, but I felt it in my spirit. You need friends like that.
Clue,
You know,
that's me. You can
no
ask
matter
any of the
what.
people. That's me. Thank you.
Yeah, no matter what lifestyle. I know I pick up on energy and vibes too, but
Yep.
definitely, to that person watching this, surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with praying friends, even though they judge our lifestyle and say we're going to hell. Prayer is universal. Prayer,
Mm.
every religion, every religion have one thing in common, and that's prayer. So
Come on now.
always have a friend that that'll lay down for you and pray for you, and that friend that'll get on your knees and go in their prayer room and pray for you. If
Mm.
you down, you got a good one for life.
Yes, Clue. Yes. I was Clue. I can't remember. I was trying to think. The documentary, it was the white guy where he was befriended by two guys. So he was at the bar. Like this is on I watched a documentary. His parents has created a fund for him. So he was trying to be accepted by a lot of people. He went to this bar to play
Mhm.
pool, and the guys asked him to ride with them.
Mm.
And he was riding with them in the truck, and he was happy, like, these are my friends. They robbed him. They took him to a field. They tied him up against this fence. They beat him for hours.
Mm, mm, mm.
This is a true story. They beat him for hours and left him in the cold, Clue.
Wow.
The police said when they found him, they could not believe how these two guys did him. When I watched it, look. I'm a crybaby anyway about a lot of things, but when I watched it, I cried some kind of bad, and I said, you know what? How could people be so cruel to
Right.
another human being? How? And I say all that to say to the people out there, be nice to people. As my 6-year-old say, be kind to
Be
people.
kind.
Be kind to people, because we all have our flaws. We all have things that we deal with. We are who we are, and we know who we are. We identify with who we are, whether I don't care what it is. But who are we to go and judge someone and treat someone and go here and shoot up nightclubs and just kill people for no reason, because how you view people?
Right.
How dare you? So I appreciate you, Clue, for coming up here
Thank
and you're welcome sharing this message with me, because I'm not afraid to talk about it. I don't mind talking about it. At the end of the day, we are all people, and whatever anybody decides to do, I support it.
that part.
I do. I support it. So I appreciate you, Clue. I do continue what you're doing in the community for sure. I remember when I came to you with my son when he was starting his first clothing line, Fab, how you connected with my son speaking in front of the school board. Like anytime I have reached out to you, Clue, no matter your busy schedule, you have always got back to me. So I appreciate you. I really
No,
do.
thank you. And thank you for
Yeah,
having me. I
yeah,
wish you much
yeah.
success on your show, Talk Your Talk.
Thank
Stay
you.
consistent in it. Stay
Yes,
consistent.
I am. I'm very consistent. I don't care how tired I am or if I get one view or two view, they come back and watch it. They're watching it.
Yep,
I
just stay
promise
consistent.
you.
And I wish you much success. And again, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Hey, this is your girl with Talk Your Talk on Thursdays at 7 o'clock. I will see you next week. Stay posted. We're going to send out a preview of what we discussed tonight. And then the next day, you're going to find out our next topic. Thank you again. Y'all have a good night. Have a good night, Clue. Thank you so much.
No
Bye
problem.
bye.